Just a second. How are you guys doing? Hope you had a great day. Hope you won today. Hope your day was good as mine or better than mine. I we had a great session in the afternoon and we had so many comments, so many questions that followed up. I'll be doing those questions with time because I did promise in the afternoon live that I'll be talking about something else, which is your mental environment, right? We'll be talking about the different environments that you're exposed to. And in the afternoon, we talked about your digital environment, which is a big one right now because of the phones, whatever you carry along, whatever you string along with you. So, um, that was for afternoon live. I'll be going more into your mental environment, which is the next live we'll be um, doing right now. So please let us know where you're joining from. Let us know so that we can say holler, so that we can give a shout out to you. Please let us know where you're joining from. And also, please kindly share this live with people around you. The title of this talk is Your Inner Environment is Shaping Your Life. Your inner environment is shaping your life. So tonight I want to follow up on the message we just talked about. Okay, this is more like a follow-up, right? We talked about your digital environment, we talked about your phone feeds, we talked about what you consume is shaping your mind. And that message it resonated with a lot of people because it's a fact, it's truth. But right now I want to take it one layer deeper because some of you can clean your phone, you can clean your feed, as we did talk about, and still feel heavy. You can mute the noise outside and still hear chaos inside because of preceding programming. Some of you can change what you scroll through, but still struggle with what you replay, what is replaying in your head. So tonight, hey, hello Roblox game, how you doing? So tonight, we're talking about something deeper. Hello, James Davia, how you doing? Nobs, thanks for joining. We're going a little bit deeper. Your inner environment is shaping your life. Nothing much, Nobs, I'm just doing what we're doing. Yeah, Yaza, how you doing? All right, perfect. Thank you so much for joining. We're talking about something deeper tonight. Your inner environment is changing your life. I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Your inner environment is changing your life. I need you to hear me. Your inner environment is what you say to yourself, what you rehearse in your mind, what you emotionally live in, what thoughts you let repeat, what pain you keep revisiting, what fear you keep feeding, what story you keep telling yourself. And friends, your inner environment becomes the lens through which you see everything. If your inner environment is fear, you will read life through fear. Okay? If your inner environment is shame, you will shrink in places you should grow. If your inner environment is peace, you'll move differently. If your inner environment is truth, you will build differently. So tonight, we're going to talk about how your inner atmosphere shapes your emotions, how it shapes your identity, how it shapes your decisions, how your inner atmosphere becomes thoughts that once those thoughts are repeated, they become an emotional environment. How many people are living in internal chaos while smiling outside, and how to rebuild a mental and emotional environment that support your future. Thank you so much for joining us. If this resonates with you, please share this live, share it, share it, share it. Let's get more people to join. Let's start with the truth. One thing is for certain, you live in an inner environment. You live in an inner atmosphere. Every person listening to me right now, and those that are going to watch this video later, you live in what we call an inner atmosphere, even if nobody can see it. Some people live in an inner atmosphere of pressure. Some live in an inner atmosphere of fear, of self-criticism, of shame, of urgency, of regret, of comparison. And others are learning to live in an inner atmosphere of peace, clarity, hope, truth, focus, confidence, and groundedness. Now, hear me. Your inner atmosphere may be invisible, but it is not harmless. It may be invisible, but it is not harmless. It's like what we talked about before. We talked about the digital environment where your phone might be just a phone, it's just a scroll mat, but with time it becomes harmless. The same thing here, your inner atmosphere may be invisible, but it's not harmless, because whatever emotional atmosphere you live in internally will shape how you respond, how you tolerate, what you expect, what you believe, how you relate to people, even how you show up in life. So this is why two people can have the same opportunity and they respond completely differently. One sees possibility, the other sees danger. One moves forward, the other one freezes and stays there. Sometimes the difference is not external, it's internal. Friends, if your inner environment is chaotic, your life will start feeling chaotic even when nothing is wrong outside. You don't need outside, you don't need anything to be wrong. Because your inside is chaotic, your life just starts becoming chaotic. If your inner environment is healing, you can walk through hard things without losing yourself. You can walk through hard times without losing yourself. That's why this matters. It matters a lot. You don't just need a better environment around you in terms of physical environment. You need a better environment within you. Let's talk about a man who looked fine but lived in inner pressure. Derek. Derek from the outside looked fine. He worked, he provided, he handled responsibilities, he showed up for people. Nobody would have guessed he was struggling. But inside, he lived in pressure. His inner environment sounded like this: don't mess up. You are behind. You should be further. You can't slow down. People are counting on you. You can rest later. He was functioning, but he was never at peace. Even on a good day, he felt tense. Even when things are okay, he felt pressure. Even when he achieved something, he moved the goalpost. And one day he said something that hit hard. Hey, I'm fine, thank you so much, I'm not bothered. He said something that hit hard. I don't know how to stop driving myself from the inside. That line is for somebody today. Some of you are not only tired from life, you're tired from your own inner atmosphere. You're tired living with an inner voice that never lets you land, that never lets you breathe, that never lets you feel enough. Derek didn't need to become less responsible. No. He needed to build a different inner environment. He had to learn how to talk to himself with truth. He had to learn how to stop rehearsing pressure. He had to learn how to separate responsibility from self-punishment. He had to learn how to create peace internally, not just internally. Friends, Many people are high functioning but internal hostile. Inside they're hostile, but outside they look high functioning, they look great. And you can't build a healthy life in an inner environment that is always attacking you, always pulling you down. You can't build a healthy life in that scenario. Let's go a little bit deeper. How does your inner environment get built? For me, that's a big one. That's a big part to this. How does your inner environment get built? It doesn't usually happen in one moment. Like I talked about the law of compounding. If you've not seen that video, please go check it out. The law of compounding allows, it says that little things, when put together, becomes a big thing at the end of the day. How does this inner environment get built? It doesn't usually happen in one moment. It gets built by repetition. Repeated thoughts. What you think often becomes how you feel deep down there. The thought in your head, the thoughts you go over and over and over and over and over, translate into how you feel. And it is said that thought are things, or thought become things. Even in the Bible, it is said that as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. So what you dwell on becomes the baseline of your emotional landscape. What about repeated language? What you keep saying about yourself becomes emotional reality. You say things like, I always fail. If you give that to me, I'm gonna bust it. I always fail. I'm just too late. You're like, I can't change. That's why when I talk to people, when I hear people say, hey Matt, if I've met you 10 years ago, I would have been better off by applying this. I say, no, you are not too late. Stop saying you're too late. Because when you tell yourself that, when you dwell on that, somehow it becomes your emotional reality. Or the one that says, I can't change now. I've grown, I've been doing this for so long. Who told you you can't change? Every learned habit can be unlearned. Every learned trait can be unlearned. It's just a matter of putting the effort to unlearn it. Or you say things like, this is just who I am. No, this is not just who you are. I did a video on that. Please go check my channel. This is not just who you are. You are just looking at the wrong picture. See, that language builds atmosphere. It builds a mindset that everything now you start seeing the world from the lenses of that mindset. What about repeated emotional rehearsals? If you replay hurt, if you replay betrayal, if you replay fear, if you replay regret all day, your body starts living in that state. If the thoughts you think about, if the only thoughts going on in your head are thoughts of hurt, of betrayal, of fear, of regret, your body, physically, you start drifting towards that. If you repeatedly expose yourself to digital environment, which we talked about, or relational environment, or personal environment that are tearing you down, you are building an emotional baseline that is fragile. Or a big one is unprocessed pain. Pain you didn't process doesn't disappear. I've always said that. I have videos about that on this channel. Pain you left unprocessed, they don't disappear. They sit down, and when there's a trigger, it shoots out. It often becomes the emotional climate of your inner life. Friends, this is why inner environment matters so much. Because eventually, you don't just have thoughts, your thoughts start having you. You don't just feel stress, stress becomes your default home. You don't just worry sometimes, worry becomes the atmosphere you live in. But hear me clearly, friends. If repetition builds the environment, repetition can rebuild it. Oh, that's great. That is the learning and the unlearning piece. If you repeated thoughts, you stayed on thoughts, you repeated and repeated and repeated and built the wrong environment, you can actually repeat and stay on good thoughts, and it will rebuild your life. So that makes you not stuck. You are not stuck anywhere. Refuse to be stuck. You're not stuck. You're trainable. You're trainable. Your inner life can change. And if your inner life change, my friend, going forward, your whole life will change. Your outer life will change. There was a woman called Nia. Nia was smart. Nia was capable. Nia was gifted. But Nia kept shrinking. Every time an opportunity shows up, she will hesitate. She will overthink. She will pull back. From the inside, people thought she lacked confidence. But the real problem was deeper. Her inner environment was full of self-rejection. Her inner language sounded like, who do you think you are? Don't embarrass yourself, Nia. You're not yet ready for the spotlight. Other people can do that, not you. Stay where you're safe. That became an emotional atmosphere. So even when doors opened for her, even when opportunities presented themselves, she felt small. One day she began she started paying attention to how she spoke to herself. And she was shocked. She realized she would never talk to someone she loved the way she's talking to herself. That realization changed her. Nia started rebuilding her inner environment intentionally. She wrote down the recurring lies. She challenged the lies. She replaced them with truth. She practiced speaking to herself with clarity instead of shame. She stopped rehearsing failure before any action. And over time, her life changed. Like I always say on these videos, do nothing, your life will change. Do something, your life will change. So it's better you do something because you know where the change is going to go to. You know where it's going to lead to. See, why did Nia's life change? Her life did not change because she became a different person overnight. No. Her life changed because the environment inside her changed. Friends, some of you don't need a new opportunity first, because if you get it, you would destroy it. It is not about the open door. It's not about the blessings first. Your inner environment is shrinking you. Your inner environment is boxing you. Your inner environment is compressing you that you cannot grow. So every good opportunity feels dangerous. I need to pause here a little bit and talk about emotional environment. Because your inner environment is not only what you think, it is also what you emotionally live in. Somehow, your inner environment becomes your house that you can't see. Some people live in a repeated emotional state of pressure. Some people live in a repeated emotional state of resentment. Some people live in a repeated emotional state of fear, in a state of guilt, of anger, of grief, of sadness, of numbness. And even when that emotional state is repeated long enough, it starts feeling normal. You start normalizing these things. That is dangerous. Very dangerous, my friend. Because, see, you can normalize emotional conditions that are quietly draining your life, that are sabotaging your life. You can normalize constant tension. You can normalize always bracing, always being on the edge, always expecting bad news, always feeling behind, always feeling not enough, always feeling guilty for resting. Friends, if an unhealthy emotional state becomes your new normal, you will start building your life around survival. And when peace comes, it feels strange to you. It feels strange. When rest comes, you feel guilty. When joy comes, you feel suspicious. That's why emotional environment matters. Your emotions are not random. They are often rehearsed. And what is rehearsed repeatedly becomes your baseline, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not. But just like with digital environment or digital exposure, you can reset your emotional environment, not by pretending, all right, but by noticing, by processing, and by retaining what you have to retain. I talked about Marcus in one of the videos two nights ago. Marcus was a leader. He was known for being calm under pressure. At work, Marcus was solid, reliable, respected, composed, but inside he was carrying emotional storms, emotional chaos, emotional turmoils. He had unprocessed grief. He had stress he never named. He had fear he disguised as being prepared. He had exhaustion he called responsibility. See, from the outside, people saw strength. Inside, he lived in emotional overload. He lived in emotional overload. And because he never slowed down to process his inner environment, his body started forcing the issue. Poor sleep, irritability, short patience, mental fatigue, difficulty focusing. See, Marcus kept trying to fix the symptom, but the real issue was the atmosphere. His inner environment was too heavy for too long, and he had been trying to carry it. So Marcus had to learn a lesson many strong people avoid. If you don't process what you carry, it will become the climate you live in. He started doing things simple. He started doing simple things. He started doing things like naming what he felt, naming how he feels, journaling instead of holding everything in, creating quiet time without input, talking honestly instead of just performing strength, giving himself permission to be human. And over time, he didn't lose strength. He became more whole. He became healed. Friends, hear me. Processing your emotions is not weakness. It is what we call maintenance. You must have heard me say that so many times on this channel. Processing your emotion is not weakness. Resting is not weakness. It is maintenance. You maintain your car. You maintain your bikes. You maintain your yacht. Why won't you maintain your body? Why won't you maintain your body? You can't keep carrying emotional weight and expect your inner environment to stay calm. It will be chaotic. It will be chaotic. As usual, I try to get a little bit practical in these sessions. Now, the question that came to mind while I was thinking about this is, how do you even know your inner environment needs a reset? How do you know your inner environment needs a reset? How? Number one, you feel pressure even when nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong, but you're just tensed. Your body and your mind is on alert. See what happens if you ignore it? Stay till the end, you will hear it. Number two, your inner voice is harsh. You motivate yourself with criticism, with fear, with shame. Your inner voice is harsh. What you will not tell somebody you love, you tell yourself. Number three, you replay negative thoughts constantly. Your mind is a theater for negative thoughts. Negative movies are playing in your head over and over again on repeat. Rest to you feels uncomfortable. You're guilty for resting or for wanting to even rest. You struggle to receive good things. Oh, you struggle to receive good things. Now, web SaaS guy, Web3 SaaS guy, if you bottle it and keep it there, there's a video I did called How to Process Pain. Please, kindly watch it, because if you bottle these things and don't process them, automatically it will make you react to everything. And your reaction will never come out properly. At the end of this call, you should be able to get everything cleared out here. Another thing is that you react emotionally. You don't let reason lead. You let emotion stay on your driver's seat. You feel drained after being alone. Like, even when nothing is happening to you, you feel drained. Friends, if these signs, if they eat you, don't panic. Pay attention. Awareness is the beginning of rebuilding. Your inner environment can change. It can change. But first, you have to stop pretending it's not affecting you. Stop pretending. Don't live in pretense. So I need you to hear this hard truth tonight. It might be hard, but I need you to hear this. You cannot build a peaceful life while refusing to deal with inner chaos. You can decorate the outside all you care. You can paint the outside with all the colors in this world. You can organize the schedule. You can clean the room. You can mute the apps. You can take the trip. But if your inner atmosphere is still pressure, is still full of fear, is still full of shame, is still full of resentment, of self-rejection, unprocessed pain, it will follow you everywhere. Friends, a lot of people are changing locations, but not changing the atmosphere. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, you're great on that. That's also toxicity. Yeah. A lot of people are changing location without changing the atmosphere. New city, same inner pressure. New job, same fear. New relationship, same emotional habits. New routine, same self-talk. Why? It is simple. The inner environment came with them. The inner programming is still working. He has not dealt with what he needs to deal with. That is why this is a follow-up message. All right, we talked about the digital environment in the afternoon. Please, if you've not seen that video, go watch it. We talked about your phone being a chaos to your life and you praying in the night for peace, but in your pocket you have a legion of chaos. But you know what? In the phone, we can clean up the feeds. You can decide to say, no, I don't want to watch this anymore, and those feeds go away. So you can take care of your feed. But now we have to clean up the inner room. While the phone can be cleaned up, what about the inner room? We have to clean that up too. Because if your inner room is not healthy, everything outside will still feel heavy. Everything outside. This is not condemnation, friends. This is invitation. You can rebuild your inner environment. You can rebuild it. But you must become intentional. You must become intentional. You don't build from the point of emotions. You don't build from shame. No, you know what you are doing. You know exactly where you are. Then you start building from there. Let me give you a framework tonight. As you know, I love giving frameworks. So let me give you a framework. This AC is too hot. It's too cold. All right. As you know, I love giving frameworks. I call this the inner environment reset. Step one, notice the atmosphere you live in. It always starts from there, knowledge. Notice the atmosphere you live in. Ask yourself, what is my default inner state lately? What is my default inner state lately? Is it one of peace? Is it one of pressure? Is it one of fear? Is it one of guilt? Is it one of anger? Is it one of shame? Is it one of confusion? You cannot change what you won't name. You can't change what you will not call the name. Name what you feel. Name how your inner environment is. What is that your inner environment? Step two, identify the recurring thoughts. Identify the recurring thoughts. Identify the recurring thought. What phrases keep repeating in your mind? Write them down. Expose them. Most inner chaos, they survive in vagueness. Most inner chaos, they survive in, you just assume that they're not there. No. Identify those recurring thoughts. Don't let your mind be a cinema theater of chaos on constant replay. I like what you're saying, Web3 SaaS guy. You're like, most of the thoughts are from yesterday. Almost 70% of today's thoughts are from yesterday. Oh, yeah, that is true. You're made up of those thoughts. Identify those recurring thoughts and write them down. Now, number three, separate facts from inner narrations. A lot of people are not living from facts. They are living from internal commentary. Fact is I made a mistake. All right. Inner narration is like, I always ruin everything. I'm always making a mistake. You see that? Separate fact from inner narration. Fact says I'm tired. Inner narration is I'm falling apart. I'm weak. I don't get things done. I don't complete things. Learn to separate reality from the story. Learn to separate. Don't make yourself the story. Learn to separate reality. Number four, replace toxic repetition with truthful repetition. When I talked about muting apps and removing apps from your phone and cleaning up your feeds, I said once you remove feeds, add good feeds. The same thing here. Replace toxic repetition with truthful repetition. You don't change atmosphere by one good thought only. No. You change it by repeated truth. Change it by repeated truth. Example, I'm in process, not behind. That is better. I'm in process, I'm not behind. I can be responsible without living in pressure. Rest is not failure. Rest is not weakness. I do not need to rehearse fear to be prepared. No. My mind deserves peace. Oh, yes. Step number 5. Build emotional processing rhythm. You cannot keep storing everything. Create a rhythm, journaling, prayer, meditation, quiet walk, 10-minute walk, go hiking, honest conversation, talk to somebody honestly, reflection time, stay alone and think about your life, naming what you feel. Processed emotion cleans the inner environment. Don't bottle things up. Don't bottle them up. They become poison to your body. Step 6, protect what enters after the reset. This is very, very, very important. Protect what enters after the reset. When you've cleaned up your body, when you've cleaned up your mind, when you've cleaned up your apps, you've cleaned up your phone, you've cleaned up your digital feed, Protect what enters now. After the reset, protect what enters. Zach, hello, thanks for joining. See, this particular thought, it connects to the last live. The last live we did was digital environment. This is your inner environment. Once you've cleaned up, protect what enters. Once you clean the inner room, don't let anything back in. No. Mount guard on the door. Mount guard. Your feeds, your conversation, your self-talk, your pace, your emotional triggers. Mount guard. Protect it. Step number 7. Repeat until peace feels familiar. That is always the big one for me. Once you've done all this stuff, do it again and again and again. See, the first time it's always difficult. The first time is tough. But repeat until it becomes familiar, becomes second nature to you. At first, peace may feel strange, but that's okay. You're not failing, you're retraining. You're retraining your mind. It takes time. The goal is not perfection. The goal is healthier inner atmosphere. Let's talk about Sam for a moment. Sam was a good man. He was responsible. He was hardworking. But mentally, he lived in worst-case scenarios. Every day, his mind ran ahead. What if this goes wrong? What if they leave? What if I lose the job? What if I fail publicly? What if I can't recover? He called it being realistic. But it wasn't realism. It was rehearsal. He was rehearsing fear every day. And that fear became his inner environment. So even when life feels stable, he felt unstable. Even when nothing has happened, his body felt like something had happened. One day he finally saw it. He had trained his mind to expect disaster. That awareness changed him. Sam didn't become careless. He became intentional. He started catching fear rehearsals in real time. He wrote them down. He challenged them. He replaced them. He returned to what was true. Returned to what he could do today. And slowly his inner environment changed. Friends, some of you are not only experiencing fear, you are practicing fear. You're practicing it. You're rehearsing it. And what you practice grows. You become better at what you practice. Practice, they say, makes perfect. So instead of practicing fear, why not practice peace? Why not rehearse peace? What about good case scenarios? Why worst case scenarios? Practice steadiness. Practice returning. That's how you retain your inner life. See, before we close, I want to connect this to the last message, to the last live we did. Last live we talked about your phone field. Now we're talking about your inner feed. Here's the truth. Your digital feed and your inner feed works hand in hand. They work together. What you consume outside often becomes what you replay inside. If you consume chaos, you replay chaos. If you consume comparison, you replay comparison. If you consume fear, you rehearse fear. That's why this is not just about deleting apps on your phone or muting apps on your phone. It's about building an atmosphere. See, friends, you're building a digital atmosphere. You're building a mental atmosphere. You're building an emotional atmosphere. All three shape your life. Friends, if you want a new life, you need a new atmosphere, outside and inside. Your peace is not only external, it is also internal. Your confidence is not only public, it is also private. Your life changes when the atmosphere changes. Let's try. Let's do this together right now. Let's do this together. I want you to memorize this or write it down, whatever works for you. My default inner atmosphere lately has been what? What has your default inner atmosphere been lately? Has it been peace? Has it been pressure? Has it been fear? Has it been guilt? Has it been anger, confusion, or heaviness? What has been your default inner atmosphere lately? What has been the thought you replay most often lately? Be honest with yourself. What goes on in your mind? What goes on in your mind lately? How does that thought make you feel? Name the emotion. How does that thought make you feel? What is the truth you need to repeat inside? Write a real replacement statement. See, one emotional habit that you need to stop rehearsing is what? Is it worry? Is it self-criticism? Is it guilt? Is it replaying pain? One reset reading you need to add this week is what? Is it journaling? Is it prayer? Is it working? Is it quiet time? Is it reflection? Friends, your inner environment standard should be, if this destroys my peace, I will not leave this unchecked. That should be your standard. If this affects my sanity, I will not leave it unchecked. If this affects my life going forward, I will not leave it unchecked. This is how you take your inner life back. Not by pretending you're fine, but by becoming intentional about what lives inside you. So let me leave you with this tonight. Your inner environment is shaping your life. The question is, what kind of environment, or what kind of atmosphere are you living in? You get to choose what gets rehearsed. You get to choose what gets challenged. You get to choose what gets replaced. You get to choose what gets to stay. This is not about becoming perfect. This is about becoming aware, intentional, honest, disciplined in your inner life. So if this message resonates with you, kindly do this, friends. Don't sit on it. Share it with somebody else that needs to hear it. Comment under this message. And please, if you've not subscribed to our channel, kindly do that. Thank you so much, friends, for your time. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. This is Matt Miller, signing out for the night. Talk to you tomorrow. Peace out.